am doing a new recipe today. I am making, it's actually a recipe I found on Pinterest, so I'm trying it out for the first time. I am doing French onion soup chicken bake. So I'm doing it a crock pot way, but I'm also baking it. So I'm gonna have to do this in a couple parts on this video, so stay tuned for editing. What I'm gonna do is, first off, I've got 2 tablespoons of, I can't believe it's not butter, light into the frying pan, and I'm gonna add, I just sliced up 3 white onions. If you have sweet cooking onions, then by all means use those, but I just had white onions on hand, so that's what I'm using. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna saute these down just until they're translucent, and then you're going to be adding them into your crock pot. So this will eventually end up cooking probably for 4 hours, but it can cook up to 6 hours. I'm just going to season them with a little bit of salt. Okay, so the only thing I have in here is 2 tablespoons of, I can't believe it's not butter, light. I've got 3 of the white cooking onions. If you have the large sweet onions, the recipe calls for 2 of the large sweet onions, so whatever you have on hand. And then I just seasoned with a little bit of salt just to bring the natural juices out of the onions. Okay, so I'm just gonna let those cook. And what I have here is I have 2 chicken breasts. I've cleaned them and cut off any of the excess fat on them. And I'm just going to spray them with a little bit of olive oil, just because it does help to coat them with the seasonings that you're adding. So I'm just gonna turn you down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So to this, the crock pot I have on low, I've already turned it on, and I'm just going to season the chicken breast with some garlic powder and some pepper. You can add any other seasonings that you want to add if you wanted any other flavoring profile, but I just want to add the garlic powder and pepper because all the onions and everything are going to be added to this. So I'm just going to put the top on this. Let these chickens cook. I have it on low right now, but continue to saute your onions until they're translucent, and then I'll show you what we're going to add next. Okay, we're back. So the onions are just translucent. So what I'm going to do next is I'm adding 2 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar to the onions, and you're just going to let them cook for a couple more minutes. So I actually got this new measuring spoon which measures tablespoons and teaspoons, and then it slides for your halves, your quarters, your thirds. I actually got this off Amazon, but Epicure has a great one as well too. So I don't think the Epicure one slides, but it's a great measuring spoon that they have too. So 2 teaspoons you're adding of balsamic vinegar. Okay, and you're just going to let these onions cook in this for a couple more minutes, just so they're all coated in it. A small amount of balsamic goes such a long way, you don't realize it. And then what you're going to do next is you've got your chicken in your crock pot. So you're just going to add your onions on top of this. So again, the chicken we've only seasoned with garlic powder and pepper. You can also throw some thyme in there as well, but I actually don't have any thyme on hand right now, so that's okay. The seasoning is fine just as it is. Okay, so I'm gonna add these onions to the crock pot. So layer them right on top of the chicken so everything's cooking all over top. And again, you're gonna cook this in the crock pot for, I'm gonna cook it for 4 hours, but you can cook it up to 6 hours. The recipe actually calls for 5 to 6 hours. So, depending on how much time you have, I put these in a little bit later than I was planning on it, but the day got the best of me. So I've got the onions in here, and then next what we're gonna add is, you can add beef stock or chicken stock. I have chicken stock on hand, so I have the low sodium chicken stock. Hey everyone, just realized that my camera cut out while I was sharing the middle of that recipe. So I added half of a carton or 450 milliliters of the chicken stock, the low sodium chicken stock. Again, you can use the chicken or the beef, even the vegetable you can as well, depending on what flavor profile that you want. And I also added one tablespoon of the beef bouillon. So I added that just to give it the beef flavoring because I had the chicken stock. If you wanted the chicken flavoring, then you don't need to. So just 1 tablespoon of the beef bouillon that I added though. And I let it simmer for 4 hours on low. Hey everyone, I'm back. So the chicken and the onions have all been cooking for 4 hours now. So I've taken the chicken out. So it's just the whole chicken breast. If you wanted to shred it, you can. That's totally up to you. I'm going to keep them solid because that's going to be the main part of our meal. But if you wanted to make it more of a casserole type thing, this would actually be pretty good over rice or quinoa. But I'm trying to go with as little as starch as I can this week. I'm trying to cut it out. Bill, thank you so much for all your help with this. But I am going with... I've got the 2 chicken breasts, and you could have done 4 of these too. So if you're cooking for a bigger family, then cook more chicken. But I just did the 2. And what I'm going to do now is now the recipe called to add 2 tablespoons of flour into the liquid so that it can kind of cook down and thicken. But I didn't need it. Mine was, I found thick enough, and there is, I mean, it is liquidy, but I'm fine with that because I can use it as a sauce. So I've just shut off my crock pot. So here are the onions. So it's just like a French onion soup. So if you want French onion soup, this is exactly what it is. So I'm just going to ladle this over top of the chicken. So it's just going to be poured right into here. What I should do to make this easier, I'm going to grab my oven mitts and just pour it all in. Because it's all going in. So you just want to put this all right on top of your chicken. Okay, and now, so you can use any kind of cheese that you would like. I got Gouda cheese. This is actually a new cheese for me to try. And I'm actually shocked because it is very light. It's similar to a mozzarella, but it's really light. So I am just topping, this is 60 grams. Again, always weigh your cheese and grate it. Make sure to grate your cheese because you get so much more out of it. So this is 60 grams. For this Gouda, this is 8 points for the 60 grams. So it'll be 4 points each. You actually probably could have gotten away with 30 grams because this is a lot of cheese. But I'm looking at this as this is just like French onion soup. So I'm wanting to top it with, make it really cheesy. Now, the recipe itself does tell you to add in croutons on the top. So you could throw in a couple croutons on the top of the cheese and then put that in it so that you've kind of got that crunch like a bread from a French onion soup. But I'm trying to eliminate starch and bread, so I'm not doing that. So I'm going to throw this in the oven uncovered right now, just until the cheese is melted. So maybe 10-15 minutes. Just watch it and see. I have my oven at 350. So I'm going to throw this in the oven, let it bake, and I'll be back to show you the final product. I'm back. So it has baked, it's melted. I left it in there probably a little bit longer than it needed to be, but it was 15 minutes that I left it in there, and it completely melted. So there's my chicken. I'm going to pair this with a garden salad. So my entire dinner, because I pointed this out, and this was making this recipe based on 2 portions. Now, there's a lot of liquid. Let me show you what it looks like. So there's a lot of liquid in this. So what I'm going to do, because I can well, the thing is that I'm pointing this out based on 2 portions. So to not get confusing by saying what there is left over, but I'm pointing it out by 2 portions. So based on, because the only thing really that you're counting for points is the cheese. So it works out to be 4 points per portion. So if you are having the chicken by itself, it's 4 points and then the onions and the broth and everything else is 0. So it's 4 points. And then my dressing will be 2 points, because usually 1 to 2 tablespoons of dressing I add to a salad with my ranch dressing. So I'd say 5 points, 6 points max for this entire dinner. But that leftover broth I'm gonna save for lunches, so that it's French onion soup. So you can really get probably 4 portions out of this. And like I said before, I only did the 2 chicken breasts, but you could have fit at least 4 chicken breasts in there. So this is a great meal to set at the start of the day, because you leave it in the crock pot for the most part, other than baking the cheese on it, which you can actually bake cheese in the crock pot as well. You just have to turn it on high and let it melt. So you could do that as well in the crock pot. So it could be a 1-pot meal as well. So this, I've already tried the soup portion of it, and it's amazing. It tastes just like a French onion soup, and because we added the beef bouillon, it tastes just like the beef stock. So this is delicious. I'm definitely going to be making this again. Next time I'll probably do more chicken than just the 2 breasts, but I'm definitely happy with this. Even just the soup portion of it by itself is great, but I like the option of having it over chicken breast. It's something new that I never tried. So I hope you guys like this recipe. It was kind of a drawn out video because there were so many steps to it, but I hope you do like it. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, tap the bell button, or sorry, subscribe, and you can tap the bell button to get notified of any new alerts coming out, of any new videos that I'm posting. And as always, my handles are at the bottom on Connect, Stitch and Lindy, and my Facebook group is Stitch and Lindy's Weight Loss Journey. Thanks for watching.